What if the reason a poor family survived the toughest time in their lives had 4 legs and no home? This is a story that reminds us that sometimes the biggest hearts come in the furriest packages. In a quiet, forgotten alley, hidden away from the city's hustle, lived a small family. The parents worked tirelessly, but some days their efforts just weren't enough. Putting food on the table was a constant struggle, a daily worry that cast a long shadow over their lives. The children, though young, understood the weight of their parents' silence at meal. Hope was a luxury they couldn't always afford. One ordinary morning, as the first rays of sunlight pierced through the gloom of the alley, a strange sound broke the silence, a gentle but persistent scratching at their thin wooden door. The father, puzzled, went to see who it could be. No one ever visited them here. He opened the door just a crack, and what he saw made him freeze. There, sitting patiently on their worn-out doormat, was a stray dog. He was a scruffy-looking thing, with fur matted from life on the streets and eyes that seemed to hold a world of wisdom. But it wasn't just the dog that was surprising. Held carefully in his mouth was a plastic bag, tied in a knot. The dog looked up at the man, tilted his head, and gently dropped the bag at his feet before backing away to a respectful distance, watching. Hesitantly, the father picked up the bag. It felt surprisingly heavy. He untied the knot and looked inside. His breath caught in his throat. Inside were leftovers, but not just scraps. There was a good portion of rice, pieces of meat, and some cooked vegetables. It was more than they'd seen in days. He looked from the food back to the dog, who just sat there, wagging his tail slowly. The family was in shock. Where had this come from? They shared the meal, a mixture of confusion, gratitude, and wonder filling their small home. They left some water out for the dog, but by the time they looked again, he was gone. They thought it was a one-time miracle, a strange, beautiful fluke. But the next morning, right on schedule, the scratching sound returned. And there he was again, the same scruffy dog with another plastic bag in his mouth. And the day after that, every single morning, without fail, their furry benefactor would appear, delivering a meal that would get them through the day. He never asked for anything in return. He would just drop the bag, wait to see that they had received it, and then disappear back into the labyrinth of the city's alleys. The family started calling him the Guardian. He became their morning ritual, their beacon of hope. The children would wait by the door, their faces lighting up when they heard the familiar scratching. They would save a small piece of whatever he brought, hoping to share it with him, but he never took it. He seemed to understand that they needed it more. After weeks of this incredible routine, the parents' curiosity got the better of them. They had to know where this dog was going, how he was managing this impossible feat every day. So, one morning, after he dropped off his delivery, they decided to follow him. They kept a safe distance, moving quietly through the winding back streets and alleys he seemed to know so well. His journey led them across town to the back of a bustling street lined with restaurants. There, they watched from a hiding spot as kitchen workers came out to discard the day's excess food. Piles of unsold bread, leftover rice, and untouched portions from the buffet were thrown into large bins. The dog waited patiently until the workers went back inside. Then, he would carefully nose through the discarded food, not to gorge himself, but to select the best, cleanest items. He would gently pick them up, place them into a discarded plastic bag he'd found, and then, instead of eating his fill, he would start the long journey back to their alley. The parents watched, their eyes filled with tears. This little stray, who had nothing in the world, was choosing to feed them before he fed himself. He was performing an act of pure, selfless generosity every single day. The sight of him, a small, determined figure carrying their daily bread through the city, broke their hearts and filled them with a profound sense of awe. Armed with this knowledge, the parents knew they couldn't just let this continue. The next day, the father gathered all his courage and went to speak to the owner of the first restaurant. He was nervous, fumbling with his words, as he explained the story of the stray dog. He told him how this animal had been secretly collecting their thrown-away food to feed his family. He described the morning deliveries, the plastic bags, and the incredible selflessness he had witnessed. The restaurant owner listened, his expression shifting from skepticism to disbelief, and finally, to amazement. He called his staff over to hear the story. They were all stunned. They'd seen the scruffy dog hanging around, but they had no idea this was what he was doing. That day, instead of throwing the excess food into the bins, they packed it neatly into clean containers. When the dog arrived, the owner himself came out and handed him the bag. Word spread like wildfire down the street. The father, feeling bolder now, went from one restaurant to another, sharing the incredible story of the guardian. The community was deeply moved. Soon, it became a coordinated effort. The restaurants started packing up their clean, unsold food at the end of each day. Not just for one family, but for anyone in the neighborhood who was struggling. They created a small collection point, a place where dignity was served alongside a warm meal. The alley, once a symbol of their poverty, became a hub of community and compassion. The family's life began to change. With the constant worry of food gone, the father found a stable job. They were able to get back on their feet, their future finally looking brighter. And it all started because of one small, scruffy dog who refused to eat alone. He didn't change the entire world. He didn't solve global hunger or end poverty. But he changed their world. He ignited a spark of kindness in a community that had forgotten to look out for one another. He showed them that compassion isn't about how much you have, but how much you're willing to share. And sometimes, changing one small world, one family, one neighborhood at a time, is more than enough. It's everything. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more content that celebrates the quiet heroes all around us.